In 1973, audiences entered cinemas expecting a normal horror movie, but what happened inside the halls wasn't just a movie show. Fainting, vomiting, people running towards the exit in panic, ambulances waiting outside. The movie in our hands today was not just a fairy tale. It's a very terrifying experience that only 9% of the audience can finish watching it without closing their eyes or leaving the hall. Today, we'll dive deep into the curse and darkest film in cinema history, The Exorcist. Prepare yourself. Make sure you don't watch this video in the dark alone. The story begins in the desert of northern Iraq, where the priest and archaeologist Father Miran works at an ancient excavation site. During his search, he finds a strange little piece, a statue representing an ancient evil entity called Pazuzu. At this very moment, life around him comes to a halt. The glances of fear in his eyes indicate one thing: the evil entity has awakened, and the inevitable confrontation is closer than imagined. In contrast, and on the other side of the world in Washington, actress Chris lives with her 12-year-old daughter, Reagan, a very normal and quiet life. But this quiet is just the calm before the storm. Strange things start happening gradually. Regular bang noises in the attic during the night. The mother thinks she's just a rat. But the real anxiety begins when Reagan's behavior changes. She tells her mother about an imaginary friend she plays with. Then her bed starts shaking so hard in the middle of the night. At first, doctors resort to traditional medical tests, radiographs, tests, and complex neurological examinations. Everything seems organically sound, but Reagan's condition is deteriorating terribly and quickly. Her voice begins to change to speak strange languages. Her innocent features begin to erode into a visual nightmare, and her body moves in ways that break the laws of nature and physics. After the doctors have exhausted all scientific means, and after mysterious murders occur inside the house, the doctors practice an explicit admission of helplessness. We don't know what's happening. Maybe it's time to resort to exorcism. Here, the terrified mother heads to Father Karras, a priest and psychic who is himself going through a deep crisis of faith after his mother's death. Karras deals with the matter at first with scientific suspicion, until he enters Reagan's room and sees for himself beyond all human logic. On a rainy, dark night, Miran arrives in front of the house. He stands under a dim streetlight in one of the most famous shots in cinema history. He knows he's entering a life-or-death battle. The two priests begin the ritual of exorcising Satan. The room turns into a dungeon of ice and violent swing. The evil entity not only fights with the body but attacks their psychological and spiritual weaknesses, exploiting the Karras' guilt towards its mother and trying to break their faith. Events escalate until they peak. Father Miran's heart collapses under the weight of exertion and vicious pressure and dies inside the room. Here, Father Karras realizes there is no other option. In a moment of anger and mythical sacrifice, he attacks the girl and shouts at the entity, "Take me instead of her." The entity does move into Carrie's body and in a quick moment of realization before losing control, throws itself out of the room window to die on the stairs below. He sacrificed his life to save a child he didn't know. Why is this film so terrifying even decades later? Because it did not rely on jumps, but rather struck the most painful nerve in man: fear of losing control, helplessness in front of a force we do not see and understand. If you get to this moment of the video, congratulations. You are one of the 9% who managed to hold out and watch until the end. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and tell me in the comments, do you have the courage to watch this full movie at night?